Hello, and a warm welcome to the latest of our stories from the Strongrooms. Talks informed by the narrative found within the collections here at Hull History Centre. My talk is particularly relevant now as a £4.3 million transformational city centre scheme is underway to refurbish Queen's Gardens, improving public access and incorporating modern eco-friendly features, as well as serving to create a link between some of the city's key maritime heritage sites. It is part of the much larger Hull, Yorkshire's Maritime City project, a cultural regeneration scheme in the heart of Hull city centre that will protect and celebrate 800 years of Hull's maritime heritage. The subject of this month's talk is a fascinating album of photographs that was presented to the chairman of the Queen's Dock Committee, Sir W. Alfred Gelder, in October 1935. As part of the city's archive collection, this album charts the original scheme to transform what was once the largest dock of its kind in the country into a green space. The 46-page album is available to view at the Hull History Centre under the reference CDMX39, and all of the photographs that follow are taken from it. This photograph of the docks is looking east from Monument Bridge. Queen's Dock, as it became known, in honour of Queen Victoria's visit in 1854, was the first public dock in Hull. Its construction was overseen by the Hull Dock Company. It took 5 years to build and was opened in 1778. A third of a mile long with an area of 10 acres, it cost just over £64,000 to build and helped to facilitate a rapid expansion of trade. By 1800, Hull was the third port in the country after London and Liverpool, and the construction of other town docks followed in 1809 and 1829. During the next 90 years, Victoria Dock, Albert Dock, St Andrews Dock, Alexandra Dock and King George Dock were all opened. These larger docks really rendered the town dock system obsolete, restricting their use, and the decision was eventually made that Hull's oldest dock was not worth maintaining. The Queen's Dock Special Committee was set up in 1929, to which Sir Alfred Gelder was appointed chairman. Its purpose was to consider and oversee any future plans for the dock. Letters of petition were sent to the committee from several businesses when it proposed that Monument Bridge be closed to traffic. They were worried about the inconvenience it would cause their businesses. However, in the long term, the decision to close and fill in Queen's Dock was a great boon to the movement of traffic, because the constant rising of the Monument Bridge when vessels needed to pass between Prince's and Queen's Dock had caused great congestion and arguably even greater inconvenience to local businesses. We know only too well how congested Hull can get today, with a much larger concentration of traffic, even if one road is closed. We know from the minutes of the Queen's Dock Special Committee that 50 tons of material was to be tipped in each day to fill in the dock. This included dredged matter from other docks and the Humber, as well as bricks and rubble from demolished buildings, particularly from the Ferronsway area, which was being redeveloped at the same time. Nothing was to be tipped into the dock that might cause a nuisance or be contrary to the interests of public health. It was remarked that there was no need to worry what was used to fill the dock in. Whatever was used was covered now with good honest soil, grass, vegetation and rockeries. It took an astonishing 4 years to fill the dock in at a cost of £200,000, far longer and more expensive than anticipated. However, it did provide work for hundreds of local men. The completed gardens were formally opened on Thursday the 19th of September 1935 by the Right Honourable Herbert Morrison, leader of the London County Council. A civic procession was headed by the Chief Constable. A huge crowd gathered behind specially erected barriers. Herbert Morrison, a great advocate of open spaces for industrial areas, in his speech not only paid tribute to Sir Alfred, but paid Hull a great tribute, comparing it favourably with London and adding that he wished those who had been responsible for the government of London had had the vision that the City Fathers of Hull had had for a good many years. Of course, there were critics of the scheme who in particular objected to the amount of money spent with what they perceived as little reward. We know that there was an argument played out in the Hull Times in September 1935 about whether or not the Rose Bowl fountain should be lit up on a Sunday. Obviously, there were those who wanted to preserve Sunday as a day of rest and worship, and others who simply wanted to enjoy the spectacle, regardless of the particular day of the week. After much discussion, the Electricity Committee offered to provide the staff for the purpose, and the illuminated fountain was indeed played on a Sunday. Alfred Gelder himself made his personal opinion clear on the matter, saying that no one more than he had a greater desire that the public should have all the reasonable enjoyment which the gardens and illumination could provide. Often when the subject of Queen's Gardens is raised, it causes much discussion about the Wilberforce statue. Questions arise such as when and why it was moved and by whom. There is even frequent debate about whether the statue was moved more than once. It was only moved once at the same time that the dock was being transformed. It is simply the area around it that has changed as time has progressed. The reason that it was moved was to do with traffic congestion on Monument Bridge. It was Councillor Robert Taran, also a civil engineering contractor and owner of Taran Industries, who offered to do the work of transferring the 600-ton monument at his own expense. His offer was accepted by the corporation, and the work took 3 months to complete at a cost of £1,500. The resighting of the Wilberforce statue would have been quite a spectacle. By looking at the local newspaper reports, we can help bring the process alive. Apparently, a huge gathering of people watched the lowering of the figure of Wilberforce from Monument Bridge, where it had stood for over 100 years. Once he was repositioned, over the course of one weekend, 1,000 citizens, including the Lord Mayor, were given the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to climb to the very top of the column and witness the view for themselves. They paid for the privilege in order to raise money to send poor children on a holiday. The statue was rededicated on the 19th of September 1935 by Mrs. Arnold Reckitt, great-granddaughter of Wilberforce. A green oasis has been made out of a commercial desert. This was a description of Queen's Gardens by the Hull Times in September 1935. Where ships once berthed, spacious lawns, flower beds, rock gardens and fountains now lie. Queen's Dock and Gardens have been a focal point for the people of Hull for over 240 years, since the dock opened in 1778. A very different view can be seen today, with Wilberforce Drive now being an extension of Lowgate, leading to George Street. Indeed, if the statue of our great emancipator could speak, yes, he has seen many changes in the landscape, a busy dock transformed into an area of education and enterprise, but more importantly, he has seen society change. An emphasis on better education and a healthier environment for the people of Hull has dictated what his view is 102 feet high at the top of that plinth today. In recent years, Queen's Gardens has been host to popular events such as the Jazz and Freedom Festivals, national play days, concerts and other such celebrations. When the gardens opened in 1935, they were seen as a refuge from the noises and smells of the streets and the grime and bustle of business life. I like to think it still largely serves that purpose and can offer a quiet place to sit and reflect on the hubbub of daily life. The gardens also continue to evolve, and the recent plans to regenerate it have embraced current trends such as protecting our environment and ensuring our climate survives for the next generation. They aim to incorporate modern, eco-friendly features such as electric vehicle charging points and introduce new plants and trees to increase biodiversity. Please take some time out now and reflect on things that you notice have changed and what memories you have of the gardens. The photographs from the album are not the only items documenting the changes to the area. The Hull History Centre has a wealth of other relevant material, including maps, newspapers, illustrations and photographs that can be requested and viewed. Please check out the History Centre's website for our online catalogue. If you are here via YouTube, I have added links in the description box below. So check those out and remember to subscribe to our channel and get notified whenever new videos are uploaded. Thank you for listening.